See, freedom isn't given, it's earned, and earning it hurts. Because freedom requires sacrifice, sometimes the kind that rips your soul apart. It might mean losing the people who loved you when you were silent. It might mean being hated for standing up. It might mean becoming a villain in the eyes of the world, just so you can stay true to yourself. We love the idea of freedom, but very few are ready to pay its price. Eren Yeager is the main character of the anime Attack on Titan, a brutal, haunting story where humanity is trapped behind giant walls, constantly hunted by monstrous titans. As a child, Eren watched helplessly as his mother was eaten alive. That moment changed him. He swore to destroy every titan and gain freedom for his people. But as the story unfolds, Eren discovers a truth more terrifying than the titans. The real enemy isn't out there. It's the world itself, its history, its systems, its endless cycle of hatred. And so, his definition of freedom changes. It's no longer just about survival. It's about choosing his own path, no matter what it costs. And that cost was everything. Eren sacrificed his identity. He went from being humanity's hope to being seen as its greatest threat. He sacrificed his relationships. Friends who once bled beside him now stood against him. He didn't stop them. He let them go. He sacrificed love. Mikasa loved him deeply, but he knew if she stayed close, she'd break. So he pushed her away, not out of hatred, but because freedom required solitude. He sacrificed his future. The boy who dreamed of seeing the ocean became the man who brought the world to its knees. And in the end, he even sacrificed his life, not as a hero, not as a villain, but as something beyond those roles, a symbol of what happens when the price of staying chained becomes heavier than the price of becoming hated. Eren Yeager didn't betray his friends. He let them go so they could live in a world where he never could. Because for him, freedom was never about happiness. It was about choice, and he chose to be the one who carried the burden. He didn't just chase freedom, he paid for it, with everything he had. Eren Yeager's journey isn't just fiction. It echoes the questions that haunted the greatest minds in philosophy. Nietzsche believed that true freedom begins when you destroy the illusions placed upon you by society, morality, religion, identity. He called this the path of the Übermensch, the one who dares to create his own values. Eren is this man. He saw through the lies that kept people caged. He chose to break them, even if it meant becoming a monster in the world's eyes. Nietzsche warned, when you look into the abyss looks back. Eren didn't just look, he stepped in. Kierkegaard spoke of the leap of faith, a moment when a person abandons certainty and accepts the absurd for a higher, personal truth. Eren's path was filled with uncertainty. There was no guarantee his sacrifice would work, no applause waiting at the end, just his conviction that this was the only way. To Kierkegaard, real freedom demands this kind of leap, not logic, not safety, but raw, unshakable will. Camus wrote about the absurd, the idea that life is without inherent meaning, and yet we must live as if it has purpose. In his essay on Sisyphus, Camus says we must imagine the man who rolls the boulder uphill forever as happy. Why? Because he chooses his burden. Eren too knew his fate. He chose it, and in doing so he became free, not because he escaped pain, but because he embraced it on his own terms. Freedom to these thinkers isn't comfort, it's rebellion, a refusal to accept the world as it is. It means becoming hated, misunderstood, and alone. But it also means becoming whole. Eren Yeager wasn't just a character, he was a living question. Would you give everything in order to become free? The philosophers answered with their lives. Eren answered with his story. And now, it's your turn to answer.